Hey guys, hope everyone had a good Mother's Day and that everyone is safe and healthy during these crazy times. I know things are starting to calm down a little bit, but there's still a lot of concern and worry out there, which is definitely very warranted. Wanted to welcome you guys to the channel. This is Chris, your host with Shadow Tech Land. A couple things wanted to go over today. Basically automation and what you can do with media downloading and having large libraries. Wanted to go over that and offer some information if you guys are looking into doing that yourself, which I was there about a month or two ago and has been basically awesome and life-changing ever since then. So basically what you run into is people with extremely large libraries, TV, media, whatever the case may be. It gets to be quite time-consuming and challenging with adding and constantly keeping updated with all the new TV shows and media that's coming out. So there's a couple really cool tools that are definitely very helpful to help you with that. So what I end up using is Sonarr, which is for TV episodes, and Radarr, which is for movies. Do keep in mind I will not be going over the setup when it comes to my main computer. For privacy, I have not added any of my media, and I will go over the basics of what everything does and how to set it up. So without further ado, let's basically get into that. Right here, what we have is my second Unraid server, which is my backup server, which is basically mirrored of everything else. Like I said, I will not be adding my data in to be able to show that part, but I can definitely show what everything happens. So what you'll want to do is go over to the App Store. Yeah, it looks like I actually have an update, so let's do that real quick. A lot of people recommend using either BenHex or Linux server. I particularly went with Linux server. In this case, it really doesn't matter quite as much. As of right now, for Sonarr, they do have version 3 out, which is basically the difference between 2 and 3. Obviously, there's a lot more underneath that's changed, but the UI has completely changed and looks very different and very, very awesome. I'm quite happy with it. This is the basic right here that you will see, the Linux/Sonarr, which is the default branch that you can use. If you want to get version 3, you will need to change that over to preview. Do keep in mind some of this still is kind of I wouldn't exactly say beta, but it is a little bit early in the release. And then, of course, you will want to add your TV and then your download section. This is basically what's going to be used in when I'll show you when I actually install it. This is what will be used right here when it comes to the where your media is located, and then downloads is where everything downloads to. One thing I want to double check real quick. So just basically wait a minute or two, let this download and complete, and pull the release in. And then of course you will want to change the port to whatever is desired for your particular scheme, depending on what it is that you have and you don't have. Once this is installed, it's going to say that you have no series found, and that you will want to import an existing series or add a series if you have nothing to begin with. It all depends on where you're starting. I'll go ahead so a couple things regarding the settings. So media management, when you go in here, this is where you can set up episode naming. So if you want Sonarr to go ahead and do the renaming for you, that way everything is to standards and that Plex is able to go ahead and import and scrape the metadata correctly, you can use this. I personally don't myself. Personally, I use FileBot, which I will leave a link in the description for that. Amazing piece of software, super cheap. It's like 11 bucks or something like that a year. Don't remember off the top of my head. I would have to look into that to confirm. So then the next thing that you have here is quality. Depending on, of course, your needs, your wants, / storage, basically what it is that you're able to handle. So you can set up quality, and basically what that is whenever a new content for TV comes out, you can set up what it is that you automatically want to have downloaded. So do you want single def? Do you want high definition? Do you want HD 720p? Do you want HD 1080p? Are you looking for 4K content? And it will only download when that particular quality profile is chosen. And when it sees that, it will download that based off of whatever indexers and download clients that you have. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and we'll take a look at indexers. So there's quite a few that already have some templates that are set up. For example, you can do IP torrents if you have a subscription / account with them. You can just go ahead and use that. Name, and then of course you'll need to have the feed URL, which is the RSS feed that IP torrents uses. So you will need to log into your IP torrents account, and then you'll need to find that URL and you'll need to put that right here. And then of course you can test it and make sure it works. So we'll just do Radarr BG, pretty common one, free. Do keep in mind, of course, based off of free compared to paid subscriptions or accounts that you have for your various download clients, depending on what it is that you have, will determine the retention, and basically what that is how long that particular file is kept with that indexer. If you are looking for something super ridiculously old or very obscure, sometimes the retention level isn't enough in order to be able to grab that. And then of course you can go ahead, Radarr BG uses CAPTCHA, and you can put that in there as well. So you can go ahead and pull up your account and then put that CAPTCHA token in there, and that will save that. And that's basically just a bot check to make sure that you're actually a human. And then you can go ahead and test that. And then save that, and then that will show up. And basically, depending on how it is when you're looking for media, which I can go over that here in just a moment. Depending on what it is that you are looking for, you can have multiple torrent clients, you can have multiple NZB clients, you can all set up as indexers. Obviously, the more that you have, the better the chances of content that you will be able to find. Of course, depending on what it is that you are looking for. There aren't a lot, not every single client for NZB or Usenet is on here, so there might be custom ones that you may have that you want to use that don't necessarily support it. Like for instance, I use NZB Grabbit, and that one is not supported here because they do not have a API key. In order to be able to do NZB, you do have to have a lot of the times an API key, which is what's used in order for Sonarr underneath in order to connect to the indexer NZB that you are using. In my case, NZB Grabbit. They don't have an API key listed, so I'm not able to use them. And then, of course, the next section you have here is your download clients. So basically, at this point in time, this is user preference. Everyone has their favorites of what they use, depending on what, of course, it is that you are looking for. I particularly use SAB NZBD. They are a really great client. I've had a lot of luck with them, and I have been using them for quite a long time. Of course, you can use NZB Git. That's another really popular one that I see a lot of people use. Nothing wrong with it, it's just not what I use. Regarding torrents, I've gone ahead and I've played with a few. Views is pretty decent. In order to get automatic downloading working, I actually found that uTorrent was better itself. And in order to set that up, you would have to download uTorrent, obviously, and then you would go ahead and give it a name, whatever the IP address is to the uTorrent itself. So not the Docker IP address if you're using Docker. It would be the actual IP address of the torrent client itself, and then of course the port, and then you would have to, whatever scheme that you're using for that, you would need to basically open up that port, and then a username and password. And then after you do that, you would go into uTorrent, and then you would go to properties and remote. And when you go in there, then you would set up the username and password and a port, and then of course the IP address that it's going to be used. And once you do that, then at that point in time, they would be able to connect, and you'd be able to use this as a client in order to a download client for whatever automation profile set up for whatever TV show it is that you're looking to grab. Really awesome, really great piece of software. I love it, use it a lot. Really awesome, very powerful, and very just basically amazing piece of software. And like I said, it is really handy. It's able to basically, whatever profiles you set up, you add in your media, it scans your media, and then you can set up, oh, I want this TV show to be monitored. And what monitored basically means is basically, okay, I have this TV show, I want it to be monitored. So, and what that means basically is every single week, bi-weekly, however the schedule is for that particular TV series on when it comes out, it will automatically look and go, okay, on Sunday this TV show comes out, I need to look for it, and it will automatically download, if you so choose, any missing episodes, any new episodes, and it will also set up upcoming. So let's say Walking Dead, as an example, comes out, what is it, every Sunday, or whatever the schedule is, and it will go, okay, cool, so I need to, on the next Sunday, I need to go ahead and look for this TV series, The Walking Dead, and it will download it, and then it will put it into whatever you basically have set up. For notifications, there is a crap ton of notifications that you can set up. If you have your own personal Discord server, you can set up a webhook, and inside of the webhook in Discord, you can have it automatically give out a notification to your Discord community. Hey, this has been downloaded. Hey, this has been set up, added to Plex, whatever it is that you are using. You can send out email. This is notifications that can be used for MB, which is the alternative to Plex, which is basically Kodi, XBMC. There, you can set this up through Home, Plex Media Center, Plex Theater, and Plex Server. Prowl, it's set up for Synology, if you have a Telegram group, and then also Twitter, and then you can also do custom webhooks as well. So pretty awesome piece of software, a lot that you can do with it. And then of course for Sonarr itself, depending on if you're using a Windows host, this can be set up through Docker. That's what I'm using, obviously, but with Unraid I'm having this set up in Docker. There are ways to do this in Windows and through Linux as well, and also Synology or any NAS-based software, so FreeNAS, which I believe has changed names now. And then also Unraid, and basically any of the other NAS software has its own community package that you can go ahead and get that from. So I'll just go ahead and I'll show you one here. So Sequest, DSV, really awesome TV series. At this point in time, it'll show you a couple things. So it'll show you the rating, who it's coming from, so NBC, Netflix, HBO, whatever the case may be, how many seasons, if it's ended, or if it's continuing. Continuing means obviously that it hasn't ended, and there's possible more series out there. And then the root folder, so basically you can add a new path or automatically import based off of whatever you have in either Plex, storage server, XBMC, whatever the case may be. Monitor, this is where you can monitor all episodes. I only want future because I have everything, or missing, or whatever the case may be. I myself usually just do all episodes, because chances are there might be something that I may have possibly missed and I wasn't able to grab. So that's what I set up. Again, personal preference. Series type, so standard, daily, or anime. So if there's an anime collection that you're looking for, you can go ahead and set it up that way. Seasons, and you can also add tags in here, and then you can immediately start searching for missing episodes. So I don't have anything set up at this point. Go ahead and I'll add that in there. No, what is it that it's looking for? User media, TV location. So that appears to be correct. One sec. /TV. So it should be under /TV. Okay. Then, as you can see here, it's going to show how much space is free off of basically wherever that media and path is sitting. So at this point in time, it's now added. Right here, it will basically show you what season that they're currently up to, how many episodes are in the series, the names of the episodes, and the air date, and basically status. Right here you can see basically all of this is missing. because I haven't added it. At this point, I am actually currently doing backups as we speak from my main Unraid over to this one, and I haven't added this series yet. Otherwise, you would show all of these as green, or would show a 4 of 10, or whatever the case may be. And then at this point in time, you can go ahead and you can just do an automatic search for the whole entire series, or if you're just looking for an episode, or you can basically just let it go. And then it would set up, and it would, at that point in time, basically start downloading based off of whatever your preferences are. Pretty awesome piece of software, really handy. Once you start adding in your series and you start importing, depending on how large of a database of content you have for media, it could take a few minutes to several minutes to an hour, depending on how crazy of a library you have. But the really cool thing is once the media is added, and if you go into calendar, you will actually see in here a live calendar of everything that you have set up and when the next episodes are and when they're going to be airing and if they're canceled and things of that nature. So really cool to be able to keep track of that. And that's basically a extremely brief overview of Sonarr and how it works. The next thing I wanted to go over, which is Radarr. So let's go ahead and we'll grab that. Once again, I'm using Unraid and I'm using the community app store, which is quite extensive, and I've actually been quite pleased with it. And then here you basically choose the branch. So you can do the default, which is basically the latest, so whatever version that they are up to. Stable, which is the most stable version that's come out. Unstable, which is basically beta nightlies. And then Aphrodite, which is unstable version 3, which runs on Ubuntu 2004. I don't recommend running Radarr version 3 at this point in time from everything I'm reading. It is extremely, extremely beta and has a lot to go with. You can definitely try it out and take a look at it. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to use stable. And then one thing that you will want to do is you will want to set up a path for your media. That way Radarr knows what it is that it's looking for your content. So set that up based off of whatever your needs are for your storage server, whatever it is that you're running. Same as before, go ahead and let it pull the release and download and install all the dependencies for you. Doing it this way is much simpler because there is no manual. You don't have to code or do any of that jazz. It's all done for you, so super handy. One of the reasons why I love Unraid and Docker itself. Really super handy and easy to use. Once again, here you will need to set up whatever port works for you. Depending on how many servers, clients, downloads, ports, etc. that you have, you may need to change the port configuration to your needs. So, beginning page right here, you'll see that you can automatically search for movies to add based off of your content. So, go over the settings first. Once again, with Radarr, the same as Sonarr, is you can have it rename the movies for you. Again, personally, I don't have it do that myself. I use FileBot, which is extremely awesome piece of software. And then you can also import extra files. So movies, they have like the extras in the beginning and the end that like the director and the various actors and actresses will go over, like interviews and things of that nature. One of the things that you can do here is unmonitor deleted movies. So if you delete it from the Radarr itself, it will not delete it from your client. Well, not from your client, but your download storage location. So whether that's Unraid, FreeNAS, Windows, USB, whatever basically it is that you are using, you can have it set up to where it won't monitor that particular movie anymore. Same as before with Sonarr, you have profiles that you can set up, so you can do any. And basically, once again, just a quick rundown basically. So with profiles, you can set up exactly what it is, content-wise and quality-wise, that you were looking for. So if it's any cam version that comes out, are you looking Blu-ray, anything in between, so single definition, high definition, etc. Basically the same as before when it comes to quality. And then you can even come in here and you can specify even further. So do I want WebDL release? Do I want Blu-ray? Do I want WebDL 1080p, etc. And basically everything in between. So you can go anywhere from a cam version all the way up to 4K, raw, like ISO, ridiculously space. Basically depends on what it is that you're looking for and quality and how much storage that you have. Same thing as before, so indexers, you can use Radarr, BG once again. So you would come in here, test, and then save. Now you have one indexer set up. Once again, same as Sonarr, you can have multiple indexers. The more indexers you have, the higher the chance it is that you are going to find A, what it is that you're looking for, and B, the quality of media that you are looking for. You can do torrent, you can do Radarr, you can do Usenet. They do have quite a few presets that you can use, so NZB Geek, Usenet crawler, and basically everything in between. There's quite a few presets. If you are using one of the torrent providers presets, then you can just plug that in and then put in the rest of the information that you need. If you're doing like a custom from some other place, then you would need to use the custom and then basically fill out the IP information and the API key from whatever provider that you are using for that. Same thing as before, so you can have multiple download clients. The more download clients that you have, not saying that you need to go crazy, the better it is that you are going to find what it is that you are looking for. Again, when it comes to Usenet and what it is that you are using and NZB, it's basically personal preference. Again, I use SAB and ZBD just because it's what I'm used to and what I like. It's all personal preference. Torrents, once again, like I said before, I've used views. When it comes to the remote downloading, if you are using this from like multiple machine, or you have one machine set up for just downloading like me that goes to my Unraid storage pool, I find uTorrent to be a little bit more stable and easier to set up. So what you would need to do is basically put in uTorrent name, whatever it is that you want, the IP address of the uTorrent client itself, so whatever host that is sitting on, whether that's on a Docker, VM, whatever that device would be, you would use that IP address. You would need to open up that port, and then whatever port that you need, and the username and password that you would need to put that in, and that would be not what you want it to be, but that needs to be what you set up in the uTorrent client itself underneath the remote tab. You can set the username and password. That's what needs to go right here. And then you can test and save that. One of the really neat things that I actually do like about Radarr is you can set up custom lists And what those lists are basically is they are a list that is created that has all of the media that you could be looking for. You can set these up through presets, through Couch Potato. Radarr has lists. TMDB has quite a few lists that can be used. Trackit has quite a few lists that can be used. So basically what happens is you would select the path. You can do any tags, whatever quality that you're looking for. Announce basically means that it's been basically told to the public that, oh, this movie is going to be coming out. Or you can set up that the minimum availability is I want it to be in cinemas, web, whatever the case may be. So you would set that. So as an example, I will do this one. Now I don't have any paths set up at this point in time. So basically what happens is it will use a list, and in this particular case it's the most popular movies that have come out. So I believe that's like 40 or 50 movies or something of that nature. There's a couple different list types. You can do popular, theaters, top movies, upcoming movies, basically setting up preferences. And then once you set up and import all of your media, then at that point in time it will look for like a new one that's coming out. So like let's say you had The Matrix and you only had the first one. It will automatically scan your library and say, oh, there's Matrix 2 and 3 out. Cool, let's go ahead and grab this. And it will download it, and based off of whatever indexers and quality that you set up, it will basically put it into your media location or whatever that you choose for your download area or media and things of that nature. So pretty awesome software. So as an example, I can do a bulk import, and when you do a bulk import, you would basically be doing here. And this media location is whatever folder that your content is sitting in. So obviously your mileage will vary depending on what it is that you have for your setup. And this is where lists come in pretty handy. So this is just default. So there's no movies right now. Popular. So these are basically, the popular list is basically what has been chosen by various public locations. So like IMDb, things of that nature. So basically the top popular movies, most watched, etc., things of that nature will add it here. So like Dark Phoenix, basically all the big movies that have come out. So the new Fast and Furious, the spin-off of Hobbs and Shaw, Angels Has Fallen, the new Aladdin, things of that nature, Ready or Not. Basically a lot of the popular movies. You can add a new movie. You can add a movie from the list, which is basically what I was talking about. So I can do TMDB. You would set up your path, your quality, set up a list, and basically whatever that list is set up, it will add all the movies from that list into the monitored section, and then you can choose if you want to download from there. So as an example, Matrix. Okay, cool. And then you can do add. Which I haven't had my media yet. then add it. Now it's going to show up here, and it will show up as a movie that you have or possibly don't have. Mine shows missing because of basically the way that I have set up my media and my pass. Radarr, one of the things that it looks for is it will look in your library of everything that you have, and if it will see if it's in a particular folder. Not all of my movies are in folders because I have a specific way that I have organized everything. So again, your mileage will vary. And that's basically an extremely brief overview of what Sonarr and Radarr do. If you guys have any further questions, you can definitely feel free to reach out to me on my social media. I will leave the links in the description, and also the more information about Sonarr and Radarr and how it works. And I hope you guys are safe and have a good day. Thanks.